Obviously, most covered bonds are backed by residential mortgages. How do you feel about the state of the residential mortgage market from a credit perspective at the moment?
I mean, the residential mortgages really have gone through a stressful period, right? With interest rates rising and in some countries, house prices really declining. But I think overall, when you look back now for the last 2-3 years, the households have been remarkably robust. And I think that's noteworthy. So when you look at NPL levels in banks, they have not really gone up a lot, and that's a very encouraging sign. Now we're entering a new phase where interest rates will come down, and that should support households. So I think on that side we are fine. It's a bit different in other asset classes, like commercial real estate, for example.
Well, how concerned are you about commercial real estates in cover pools and the commercial real estate market in general?
I think on the commercial real estate side, the problem is really that you have two problems at the same time, a real double whammy, right? So you have rising interest rates, and that clearly has an impact on these shorter maturity financings. So you have a refinancing risk, and we would actually expect that in the next 2 years there will be losses simply because of high interest rates. But at the same time, on top of it, you have the structural problem. Think of offices or retail, with working from home, online shopping. There's simply less demand for these type of properties. And that's a problem that will not go away quickly. It's not easy to solve. So therefore, you have a double whammy of higher interest rates and the structural problems. And therefore, we expect losses in the next 2 years as these loans mature that basically have been originated 5 years ago, which was basically the peak of the last cycle. So these loans are maturing, and then we will see losses probably coming in this respect.
But then within cover pools, obviously there's a lot of protection. Is it still a concern for covered bonds?
I think that's exactly where the difference comes between the covered bond and the overall balance sheet of the bank, right? Because as you said, the bad assets typically are removed from the cover pool. And that's when you look at the cover pools, they look perfectly fine. And that is a very, very big protection. Besides other protections like lower LTVs, more careful underwriting, especially the lending value in Germany is a significant protection. So cover bond specific protections clearly exist, but the underlying fundamental problem is obviously still there.
Turning away from credit towards regulation, is the Basel implementation, is that the biggest topic at the moment? And how do you see that playing out for covered bonds?
It's clearly a big topic. Yesterday, for example, we heard about Basel III, right? And the interesting bit is it starts in January, so there's not a lot of time left. But there's operational risks around it, simply because this property value that the CRR is now defining is actually not very clearly defined. So there's a lot of discussions around, okay, what really is the new property value? Conceptually, however, to be more careful and to say, look, instead of being really volatile with our market values going up and down, let's be a bit more careful. Let's look at values over the long term and maybe have a haircut to market values. The basic idea is a good one and is a safer one, which makes the lending safer and makes the cover pools and the bank safer. So the idea in itself, we think, is positive, but the implementation risks around it, given that it's starting in January, is quite significant.
Great. Thank you very much.
Thank you.